Hello folks, welcome to the UK car news for October 2023 and massive thanks to HelloFresh for sponsoring today's video. More about that later. I'm going to show you how to save 60% with HelloFresh. Folks, I've got some exciting news from me to start things off with. I'm going to be covering the LA Auto Show for Men and Motors, basically just over a month away from the time I'm recording this. I'll be heading over to LA with my mate Dennis, who's going to be my cameraman for the trip. We're going to be attending the press day of the LA Auto Show, showing you all the latest new releases. That's all going to be over on Men and Motors channel. Also for Men and Motors, we're going to be at the Peterson Museum. If you don't know, that's one of the best car museums in the world. Some crazy stuff in there. So we're going to be doing some content there for Men and Motors also. And then a few other little bits and bobs. We're also heading up to Vegas for a couple of days. We're going to get to Vegas basically the day after the F1 race has happened. Not the best timing, but that's the way it goes. And I'm sure we'll see a little bit of carnage left over from that on the strip. But there will be like a travel vlog on my channel and a few bits of other content floating around. So please follow me on all the social medias because there'll be lots of exciting stuff coming out over the course of that week. So stay tuned, folks. First one today is from AutoExpress, and it's the cost of learning to drive explodes by 47% in 2 years. This is a little bit of a red herring, this one, because the cost of learning to drive hasn't actually changed according to this article. It's the cost of getting your first car and, more importantly, getting insurance on that first car that's gone up massively. So, yeah, slightly misleading title, you could say, but obviously it's costing a lot more for young people to get on the road than it ever has before. So beware if you're about to do that, or if one of your kids is about to do that. You might need a few extra readies. Petrol and diesel prices soar as oil prices nudge $100 a barrel. Long story short, OPEC have cut their production back a bit. That means the price of oil has gone up. That means that some of that translates to the forecourts. RAC Fuel Watch is saying that retailers are once again unfairly profiteering from this and charging more than they should. We've seen sort of variations of this story time and time again over the last couple of years. It sort of looked like we were starting to come out of it a bit, but certainly fuel prices are on the way back up. This is an interesting one, which I'm sure in the fullness of time I'll probably be doing some videos about, but will missold car finance become a multi-billion-pound scandal larger than PPI? One law firm is saying that the FCA is receiving countless complaints about people that have been missold PCP over the years, and I'm sure a number of legal firms will be looking to make some profit for that whilst putting a few quid back into your pockets. This is certainly something I'll be keeping an eye on, but in the meantime, if you have had a PCP in recent times and you've still got any of the paperwork, I'd say hold on to it because it might come in very handy. New Euro 7 emissions regs could kill the Skoda Fabia. Obviously everyone's waiting to see what Euro 7 actually looks like and what the car manufacturers are going to have to do, but Skoda are evidently hanging fire on committing to the future of the Fabia until they see what Euro 7 looks like. Now I'll explain basically what they're saying here about Skoda in a sec, but the reason car manufacturers are concerned about Euro 7 is there's very high potential that's going to increase their production costs, and that will obviously get passed on to us, the consumer, all in the name of clean air and safety and what have you. But Skoda is saying, well, until we know what it looks like, we can't really commit to keep producing some of the cars we currently do, because if it were to add, say, £5,000 onto the cost of a Fabia, it could make a Fabia completely unviable. It's going to make it unviable for us to produce and unviable for consumers to purchase at the price it needs to be. So a lot is hanging in the balance at the moment with this Euro 7. And obviously once Euro 7 does come out, it'll be interesting to see if that then changes the goalposts for ULEZ zones and what have you. Kia's set to unveil 2 new concept cars next week, and they're expected to be early versions of the EV3 and EV4. It's thought the EV3 will be a small crossover, and the EV4 a Tesla Model 3 rival in saloon car. And they'll join the already announced EV5, the existing EV6, and the forthcoming EV9. We've teamed up again with HelloFresh to bring you this video. If you don't know, HelloFresh is a very convenient online recipe service. They deliver you recipes and ingredients to make some really exciting meals for you and your family at home. Fresh is the key word as well. We're talking about fresh ingredients brought to your doorstep very quickly and all in very convenient packages. So this one's recipe 10. This is bag 10. It's not difficult. You then look at the back of the recipe card and you've got really simple step-by-step instructions. HelloFresh makes cooking fresh meals from scratch an absolute breeze for anyone, no matter how good or bad you are at cooking. This week on the menu, the kids are going to be delighted. We've got cheeseburger with spicy fries. We've got roast chicken breast with peppercorn sauce, Hasselback potatoes and tender stem broccoli. And we've got ultimate butter chicken with naan. Nice. HelloFresh really plays an invaluable part in the way we eat and the way we shop. It's so convenient. There's basically no waste because you get the right amount of everything, and it also takes you outside your normal comfort zone. It allows you to try recipes that you wouldn't usually have a crack at yourself, and maybe even stops you from buying the odd takeaway. So for me and my family, we find it a really great investment, but you don't need to invest that much at the moment, folks. Use my code 𝑔URU2023, or actually just scan this QR code over here and you get 60% off your first box and 25% off the next 2 months. That's an incredible deal. It is a limited time deal. So if you'd like to take advantage, scan that QR code or pop onto the HelloFresh website using the link in the description and pinned as the top comment, and use that code 𝑔URU2023 to get 60% off your box, 25% for the next 2 months, and a few free gifts on top of it. So if you're like us and you got fed up with the same meals week after week, give HelloFresh a try, save yourself a few quid while you're at it. Thanks for watching. New Skoda Kodiaq's here, and AutoExpress says it's here to solve all your family car problems. Skoda's big 7-seat SUV has been revealed in second generation form. Can this Kodiaq stay ahead of the pack? Well, despite the car being the same size externally, they've pushed the wheels into the corners a bit more and freed up quite a lot more room. The boot space now is epic. If you've got the rear 2 seats, obviously it's 7-seater, if you've got the rear 2 seats down, you're going to have 910 litres of boot space. And in 7-seat mode, you've still got 340 litres of boot space. That's really quite impressive. Just as we scout through these pictures here, you'll see there's also good news on the interior. Not only does it look nice, look at this. Physical dials in a VW Group car. Yes, looks like they're going back to it. So they call these smart dials. So I guess they can be adjusted to have any function that you choose, but we've got aircon on the sides there and what appears to be volume in the middle. The easier thing would just be to have a few buttons or dials along here, but manufacturers seem loath to do that now. But it's such a relief to see physical dials in a VW Group car rather than those slidey haptic nonsense things. Well done, Skoda. And here's the rest of the exterior of the car. There we go. Looks a bit like a Kodiaq, doesn't it? Funny that. No real word on pricing, but they're guessing it might be from 35 grand. The Mazda MX-5's back with a few styling tweaks. It's going to be a naturally aspirated 2-litre petrol and a 1.5-litre option for this one. Now the cars will be manual as standard, but the 2-litre is going to get an automatic option. The manual cars are going to have an asymmetrical limited slip diff, and top spec cars are also going to have a track mode, which is pretty interesting. Should appeal nicely to the MX-5 fan base. It's still a really good budget way of getting yourself a track car if you're so inclined. Although they're expecting a price rise over current prices, which at the moment start just under 26 grand. Toyota electric cars to offer 500-mile range by 2026 with solid state batteries to follow. The new technology will help Toyota increase range whilst also saving on costs. Toyota claims the battery will allow for 497 miles of range from a single charge, and charging time will also improve to 10 to 80% in just 20 minutes. When you think about that, 10 to 80% in 20 minutes in a 500-mile range battery, that is impressive. The next stage will then be what they call solid state 1, which will go 621 miles of range. And then their third stage will be solid state 2, which they say will get 746 miles of range. That's unbelievable. You could be looking at some people charging their car once a month. I mean, that is incredible. New car sales figures are out for September now. The Nissan Qashqai and the Ford Puma, the top two models in the UK. Fleet sales continue to do really, really well, where new registrations by private buyers are not doing as well. Look at this, folks. The new all-electric Peugeot E308 priced from 40 grand. Peugeot's stylish all-electric E308 hatchback is priced from £255 more than the Vauxhall Astra electric. Let's put this into perspective, right? The 308 has always been a real depreciation monster. If you look at the petrol 308s, diesel 308s, they've always depreciated a lot very quickly, which sometimes made them a really good used buy. You then stick an EV setup into that, and surely that's only going to get worse because, as we know, a lot of EVs have depreciated massively. And we know that EV depreciation is driven by the fact that a lot of the demand in the market is false. It's company car buyers, company car drivers want EVs because it saves a lot on tax. And then at the end of the PCP or the lease that they're on, they come into the market and there are more EVs available than there are used car buyers of EVs. So in a nutshell, that's why EVs are depreciating so badly. But I can only think the Peugeot E308 is going to absolutely tank. They're charging 40 grand for it. That's Tesla money. You can get a Tesla for that. Why are you going to buy a Peugeot when you can get a Tesla? Answers on a postcard. Autocar now, and Conservatives pledge to make life easier for UK motorists, crack down on inconsiderate driving, council profiteering and unreliable infrastructure lead new policy. Obviously, we've got an election not too far away now, and someone's obviously done a survey, and the way that motorists are being punished at the moment in the UK is obviously seen as an area where the government can win some votes. It's saying that councils won't be able to just blanket bomb these 20-mile-an-hour driving zones that have obviously just come in Wales, and you'll find lots of it in central London as well. They're saying that it basically has to be supported by public demand. And it says there'll be fairer fines for mild traffic issues like stopping in a yellow box junction or something like that. And also local authorities are going to be prevented from implementing these 15-minute cities that we've heard a fair amount about. I dare say a fair amount of this will actually depend on who wins the election and if they decide to keep their word if and when they do. Volvo's to end its diesel production in early 2024, and it's doubling down its efforts to go electric only by 2030. No major surprises here, but they have actually made a statement now and said next year they will make their final diesel. Forgetting about the switch to EV for a moment, what are your thoughts on diesel basically disappearing and petrol cars and hybrid cars being the only option for internal combustion engines going forward? Will you be sad to see the back of the diesel, or do you think they're mucky old beasts that deserve to go the way of the dinosaur? Let me know in the comments. Seems a number of our car dealerships are being sold to the Americans, and they're using the weak pound as really a great excuse to strike while the iron's hot. On Monday, Pendragon, the owner of brands such as Stratstone and Evans Halshaw, said it would sell its dealer network comprising of more than 160 sites and leasing company to the Oregon-based Lithia Motors for 280 million quid. Now, Lithia also bought Jardines in March, and that gave them 50 dealerships there, so they are growing quite a footprint here. A Texas-based Group 1 Automotive are already operating in the UK, and Canada's Alpha Auto Group is currently in negotiations with Lookers to buy their 150 UK locations. Audi's going to rebrand all its cars. Basically, all the internal combustion engine cars are going to have odd numbers, and all the electric cars are going to have even numbers. So the A6, as we currently know it, is going to become the A7. I guess the A7, as we used to know it, won't exist for a while. And they're going to play down the e-tron thing. A2, A4, A6, A8 will all be electric, and then odd number vehicles will be internal combustion engine. UK road deaths rise for the first time since 2017. 1,711 people died last year as traffic numbers hit pre-pandemic levels, 328 billion vehicle miles being travelled in the UK. Loss of control was the biggest killer, with 417 deaths, followed by driver failing to look, 382, careless, reckless or hurried driving, 373, and driver breaking the speed limit, 337. The Department for Transport figures also show that over 28,000 people were seriously injured, basically meaning they had to go to hospital for treatment. Renault Clio adds a pure petrol option for £17,995. Renault brings the Super Mini's entry price down by £3,500 in response to the difficult economic climate. To give you some context, that makes it £2 or £3 less than things like Peugeot 208, Vauxhall Corsa, Hyundai i20, etc. So that could be a very shrewd move by Renault. September's sharp decline in private EV sales fueled by ICE ban delay. The new number plate month totaled 272,500 registrations, with the Nissan Qashqai being the most popular, as we said earlier. I don't agree with this. The sharp decline in private EV sales fueled by ICE ban delay, I don't think it's got anything to do with that ban being delayed. I think it's because you can get a used one so cheap that private buyers are simply buying a used EV if they want one. Why go and spend 35 grand on an electric Corsa when you can get a 2-year-old one for about 15, for example? I mean, obviously I've just bought a new EV, but I've done it through my business because it makes perfect sense to me as a business. At the time when I was thinking about buying one privately, I would have bought a used one. It's as simple as that. Or, of course, if I'd have been able to, I would have leased, as I always say, because it makes a lot of sense to lease a new EV as opposed to buying one. Just look at that Toyota article, for example. You know, we're a few years away from a car that can do 500-600 miles, 700 miles on a single charge. Well, at that time, what do you think the value of my Tesla is going to do, which will do 280 miles on a single charge? Exactly. I know lots of people don't understand leasing despite my attempts to change that, but there is method to the madness, trust me folks. But what do you think? Do you think people are not buying a new EV simply because the government have put the delay back? Or do you think people are not buying a new EV because the second-hand market is flooded with cheap EVs? Let me know. Folks, do me a favour, something that won't cost you a penny. Give the video a thumbs up. Not enough people do it. It really, really helps. Please leave a comment if you can, even if you say, hello, Jim, or give me a thumbs up or something. It all helps. And please subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell. Things have stagnated a bit recently. And, you know, I do have my own sort of targets and goals I need to hit. Please help me where you can. It really is appreciated. And I really appreciate all those people that do comment on every video. All the people that buy coffees and do memberships and things. It really helps, folks. So thanks once again to all of you, and to the rest of you. One of those is a good place to start. Thanks again. See you on the next one.